trails going west. You can see the Oregon Trail this way, going from Missouri this way. You can see the Pony Express route. You can see the California trails when gold was found. The Santa Fe Trail. You can see all these trails. These are examples of routes that many people were taking as they were traveling west. Right. This is an example, obviously, of manifest destiny in action. Right. Of people moving west. Do you know who the Donner Party is?
Do that, eat everybody or something?
Well, not everybody. They were a party. It was a family. It was not just a family, but a party going west from Missouri, going to out to California, and they were caught by a blizzard. And there were 83 members originally, but only 45 of them survived, and several of them reverted to cannibalism on their way out. It kind of got to be a famous thing. The Donner Party. Sometimes you actually hear it. Have you ever seen Aladdin, in the movie Aladdin? Have you ever heard him mention the Donner Party? If you listen, like one thing that you'll know in taking AP US history, the things that you sort of just didn't listen to or understand what was going on and just sort of put it out of your mind, you'll start hearing what that means. Like in The Simpsons, we'll reference stuff we talk about a lot. So anyway, the Donner Party was out west. You will not have a question about the Donner Party in the AP exam, but it's kind of American lore, right? So it's good that you know. But by the way, was this the first time that Americans or colonials reverted to cannibalism?
No.
Who else did? Remember the Pilgrims did it when they came over because they couldn't eat and they dug up those dead Indians.
Oh yeah.
So did they have the Indians under control by the time everyone started moving to?
No, Native Americans were still, like, in terms of, like, the threat of Native American attack, no, that was always an issue. Up until 1890. We're talking 1840s, 1850s. Plains Indians are still there and are a constant threat for people moving west. It is one of the dangers, in addition to the other. Here is an example where we talked about. Here's the 49th parallel that the Treaty of Oregon, the Oregon Treaty, actually formalizes. This is how much we actually wanted. This is the 54th parallel. We wanted this much land. 54, 40, or 5. Is it on here? No.
Oh, it's up there.
Yeah. This is how much we actually wanted, but we in the end, the Oregon country was huge. We end up compromising and getting the 49th parallel. There's John Fremont. Mexican War, there's John Slidell. There's our boy Wilmot. Why do we know him?
He has been Wilmot.
Any land that's in the Mexican War, what happens? Free land.
You put Wilmot. Is it Wilmot or Wilmot?
T. Do I not have a T on there?
You have an NT.
Should be Wilmot. Wilmot's provided.
N
With an NT.
Mott.
What did it say here?
Mott.
Yeah, it's an N. Wilmot's proviso.
Oh my gosh. M-O-T. It was
M-O-T
M-O-T
or
on it.
M-O-N-T?
Go
I
back
think
one
it's
side.
NT.
Go back
Okay.
one side and you'll see that on the
I think
side.
it's his chick is wrong.
Okay.
Okay, that's
All right, here is Mexican War. Remember I said that our forces, that what's his face Taylor's coming this way, right? And then Winfield Scott's coming this way into Mexico City, which is down here. But the war didn't last that long in terms of battle-to-battle fights. Look how much land this is, right? And then we end up getting this much.
That's pretty colors on it.
There are pretty colors.
really, that's what you say after you see.
All right, this is the worst thing that's happened in American history.
Short horses.
The anti-Catholic feelings. It says the Mexican rulers migrating from somewhere with their treasures. What are the Catholics taking with them?
Alcohol.
Alcohol and girls. That is a good example of your average Catholic.
And they're really ugly.
Yep.
Ugly men taking gorgeous girls and
That's
alcohol.
not a bad thing.
Yeah, if you're the ugly guy, that's why I became Catholic. Right?
Well,
Just kidding, sort of. Alright. This is obviously an example of subtle but real anti-ethnic or discriminatory feelings, right? These guys look really weird. In fact, these are, what type of people are they? They're religious leaders. What are they saying about priests? They're corrupt. They claim to be celibate, but who they got with them? Good-looking girls and liquor. That's what the Catholic Church is really about. So this goes along with, right, during the war, don't we tend to demonize the type of culture that we fight? We've done it with Arabic culture quite a bit with Iran. We're doing it with Persian culture with, that was Iraq, Persian with Iran. Islam in general we've done that with. During World War II we do it. So this is more propaganda, it's more cultural rather than just racial.
I wanted to see all those pictures.
We don't have time for that. Alright, hit the lights please. Okay, get out your, are there any questions? Manifest Destiny questions. We've looked at all those pretty videos, we've read Howard Zinn, we've talked about the stuff. What questions do we got? This is my what questions dance. Hello my baby, hello my dog. No? Well, yeah, the frog with the top hat. Yeah. Any questions?
What did you say? What did you say?
Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling. Hello, my ragtime girl. Right. Yeah. Do what?
That's from a cartoon character.
Yeah. It's actually from early 1900s dancing. But yeah,
I recognize it.
it's from Warner Brothers cartoons.
Well, that was interesting.
Right. I'm gonna go watch myself do that and delete it. Maybe this one doesn't. Maybe this one doesn't make the internet. All right. Any other questions? New?
Well, it says Wilmot here.
What?
Yeah, it said Wilmot.
Wilmot's provisos?
Way to go, Sarah.
I could have swore it was an N.
Whoever typed
It
it.
says in on the other one though.
Well, what is there? Wait.
Whoever typed
You
it
messed
needs
up.
to learn.
Either way, I suck.
Still
You messed up
contradicting.
and it's on. It's going to be.
It's on the interweb.
Yep.
Alright, let's talk about the road to war and popular sovereignty. You guys should know what popular sovereignty is, as you have already read a chapter. What's popular sovereignty?
States got to choose, right?
You have to choose what?
They want to be slave free.
Not states, but territories. Territories got to make the decision whether or not they were going to be free or slave territories. This goes against the law proviso. Because that dictated that all of that land would be what? Free or slave?
Free.
It would be free. Popular sovereignty was the idea was made popular by a guy named Lewis Cass. Now he in the end, Stephen Douglas will end up making it really popular with the Kansas-Nebraska Act, but the idea itself was first popularized by Lewis Cass, who later ran for president. What's the problem with popular sovereignty as it relates to the current political position?
No extension slavery.
Well, it definitely can possibly extend slavery, and where can it really extend slavery?
South. And the north.
Into the north. Because can't places above the 36 area line possibly vote to have slavery? And so this would be going against the Missouri Compromise. In fact, it's going to. Flashing forward, you've read about this, what actually undoes the Missouri Compromise? What violates it? We'll get to it tomorrow. The Kansas-Nebraska Act. You ever read about the Kansas-Nebraska Act?
I thought you just asked us. He said, oh,
Okay.
It also
Never
doesn't
mind.
make it even. Whether it's supposed to be like one north, one south. So
It could pop. Well, these were territories that were going to become states. So yeah, eventually that could make it an even. So popular sovereignty sound. Oh yeah, democratic. Well, everybody choose. That sounds great. But it had some pretty negative possibilities had it not worked out the way that people had suspected it might. Who do you think would favor popular sovereignty, the North or the South?
So,
Yeah, why would the South be more likely to favor it?
because
they had a chance to get more slavery.
Yeah, they're already kind of hemmed in the way it is. Popular sovereignty allows them to get around the Missouri Compromise. And so, the election of 1848, is that where we're at?
Wait, was the South's opportunity to get around the Missouri Compromise the fatal flaw?
Yeah, that slavery could be extended into northern areas, right? Let me get my notes. I forgot who ran and lost in the election of 1848. I know who won. Oh, it was Cass. I'm so stupid. Okay. In 1848, the Whig who ran was Zachary Taylor. Where do we know him from again? Mexican War. He was a Whig. Ironically, he had owned slaves. He was a Whig who had owned slaves. He just played up the fact that he was a military hero, right? And did not play up the fact that he had owned slaves. The Free Soil Party also ran. Martin Van Buren was their presidential candidate. Came back. So Free Soil Party is going to run again, right? Second time it's been a third party. And then obviously the Democrats are going to nominate Lewis Cass. So you have Free Soil, Democrats, Whigs, right? Who ends up winning the election?
Taylor.
Zachary Taylor does. And he becomes the second Whig to win. Ironically, he's also, the Whigs, the Whig president, both of them were former generals. And what they also have in common, they both died in office.
What did you tell me you didn't want to go for as
He did not. Okay, so that is the election itself. So we know that Zachary Taylor is there. Let's talk about California. California goes from being a territory that has very, very few people relative to just a couple of years later. Why does California go from having very few people to having a crap ton pretty quickly? Because of the gold rush. If you remember from the land ordinance of 1785, how many people does a territory have to have before it can apply for statehood?
20,000. Same amount as the smallest
3,000.
60,000. Oh, is that what it was? The same.
Okay.
state. I thought it was the
3,000.
same amount as the smallest
No, it was 60.
It was 60,000.
Was there a different one that did that? A different
No.
idea or ordinance or something?
I don't know that.
Somewhere. Maybe not.
In 1785, that the population of the smallest would have been lower than 60,000. So lots of people move out to California. But it's not just the gold they're going for. In fact, a lot of these mining camps, the mine is the main part of it, but more people end up working servicing the mines. Like, for instance, blacksmiths and saloon keepers and prostitutes and, you know, all different kinds of people. If you, no, that was a real thing. The amount of, I mean, it was, I won't say it's lawless, but it was really frontier, right? And so California applied for statehood pretty quickly. And they applied for statehood in 1849. We obviously think that the people came out there in 49, because the 49ers, right? When was the gold actually found?
46.
In 48. And people came out in 49, right? When word spread. How do people get out there? Two different ways. If you're on the East Coast, what's the fastest way to get to the West Coast?
Train.
In 1848, on a boat all the way around South America, if you could afford it. That is not, by the way, a fast way to get there. But it was the fastest way to get there because that's before we had trains that went out. In fact, it's 20 years before the Transcontinental Railroad, yes.
When did they apply for statehood?
49. Most people who went out there didn't make a profit. In fact, a lot of them just went home. But many of them ended up staying out there. California had so much land. But people who were, you know, miners were there, but laundry people, stores, and just service sectors ended up servicing and having a larger population than just the miners. What type of people went out there? Men or families?
Men.
Men did, yeah. If you were a woman and you're looking for a husband, this is a place to be. You could be 1'7" and weigh about 800 pounds and have one tooth, and you're going to find a dude. San Francisco went from being a really small town to being big pretty quickly. And California drafted their own constitution in 1849 and applied for statehood. They literally bypassed the territory. They were never the California territory. They just went from this area out there that was Mexican to we have a bunch of people, we want to be a state. Okay, so if you are the South, what are you thinking? How do you see California?
Slave.
No, that's free.
There is no real possibility of it being slave. There aren't pro-slave people who are going over there. Most people who are going out west were not Southerners, right? Because most of the white Southerners were either tied to the land or plantation owners. So how do you see California?
Bad.
Threat. California state is a threat. It's a massive state with huge economic potential. And it's going to end up being, it could possibly be free.
It says sectional balance 1950.
Not yet. This is the Constitution.
See, and this is my birthplace. Yeah, but you had nothing to do with this, so I was totally wrong.
Ooh. Gut punch from Brenda.
Yes, there's a
Oh dear.